Hello everyone, welcome to the second in our series of webinars. There will be many, many more, so please keep your eyes and ears out for further webinars that we'll be advertising on Facebook, other social media and on our webinars website. My name is George Heritage. I work in the Assessment Services Department in the Madrid office, and this...
Hello, my name is Victoria and I work with George in the Assessment Services Department in the Madrid office.
So today we will be looking at digital resources in the classroom. This is going to be a sort of overview of everything that we have available for you as teachers to continue with your professional development, and also a lot of resources that you can direct your students towards, okay? We don't have a huge amount of time, so as I said, it will be more of an overview of everything. We'll look at a couple of things in a bit more detail, but in the later webinars and other material we'll be sending out, we'll be looking at things in more detail. So keep your eyes out. We've got a lot of stuff planned and coming for you whilst we're stuck not in the classroom. We'd also like everybody to, any ideas or reactions or questions that they have, please put them in the chat box on the right hand side. Our colleague David is in the chat box. He'll be providing you with links for things and further information for questions we don't have time to answer. So yeah, please use the chat box and hopefully we can keep up with everybody's questions and queries. Okay, so Victoria.
What are we going to do today?
What are we going to do?
We are going to look at some tools that can help our teachers to plan their lessons. This is the first thing. And then we are going to move on to look at some resources to teach your students and also resources for your students to learn in a more autonomous way.
And keep their English learning up from home.
Exactly. And then after that, we will see what is available for your professional development. And finally, we will finish by looking at our landing page, Cambridge Paradis, where you can find all resources by Cambridge.
Lovely. Okay, so before we start anything, where do lessons normally start, Victoria?
With planning.
Planning, your favorite. So on to Designing Learning Weekly. This is a wonderful tool. It's been around for a year or two now. It's been recently updated. And it currently works for A2 Key for schools, B1 preliminary for schools, and B2 first for schools. What does it do, Victoria?
Well, it can help you plan your lessons. You just have to choose the level that you are preparing your students for, and you will get personalized exam and preparation material, lesson plans, and resources. So the first thing that you need to do is choose the exam, then the number of weeks that you have available, and also the time that you have per week.
Which might be more time now than it used to be. This is based on exam preparation, but as you know, all of our exams are very closely designed in line with the CEFR. So even if your students aren't preparing for exams, we hope that all of the material that is available to you will be useful for general English anyway. Okay. Here's an example of how it works. Once you've clicked those, once you've entered the level, the weeks, and the time available, it then gives you an option to reorder the skills in terms of importance. So if you put listening at the top, it will give you more listening material. So depending on what you think will be most useful and appropriate for your students, you can help organize it by that. Then you click the button and...
This is what you get.
This is what you get.
Yeah, a plan for 4 weeks in this case, because that's what we selected. As you can see, there is a combination of sample papers, but also, as George mentioned, lesson plans for just practicing skills in general. And this is an example of week 1, where you will be able to download a sample test. And you can use it with your students if you're working at home and sending your students material online. You can send them the recordings for the listening with the listening task, and your students can do it. They can even check their answers because there is a key, and also for the writing.
Here's an example of week 2, and so all of the links, all of the lesson plans come up on screen. You can download them as PDFs, and there are links therein to all of the materials that are covered in the lesson plan. So it's a great way to get access to a lot of material, because we know that we have a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's not incredibly easy to find. So this is a very nice way to structure your lessons, your online lessons, and it gives you access to all of the material. I think we have an example of a lesson plan next, Victoria.
Yeah, you can see the PDF with the objectives of the lesson, the time that you're likely to need, and then also all the materials that you will need to put this lesson into practice.
So yeah, please use it. It's a great resource. I think it will be very useful in these times to help you structure your classes and materials to direct your students towards. Right, moving on. Practice makes perfect, as we all know as English teachers. What is this about, Victoria?
It is a website that we have created in collaboration with our colleagues from the press, Cambridge University Press, and it offers a lot of resources, for example, lesson plans and tips. And well, it is available for levels from A2 to C1.
So if we have a look at a B1, here's where it would direct you towards, again, further lesson plans. Here's an example if we choose B1 preliminary for schools. And beyond that, Victoria, oh, here's another example, sorry.
Yeah.
There's an example of a lesson plan for writing. So it gives you an overview of the lesson and then the lesson goals. And then similarly to what we showed you with weekly, it gives you staged lesson plans and the timings for each of them. I know these may now need to be adapted if we're working online, but it gives you something to work from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as you said, apart from the lesson plans, there are tips that are shared by colleagues around the world, and they are suggested in line with a specific learning objective.
Yes, it is free. I don't know who just put that in the chat box. There are so many people in the chat box. It's going very quickly. But yes, it is free weekly, so please use it.
Yeah.
The teacher tips thing is really nice, and I think as we're all, well, many of us are stuck at home now, it'd be a good time to submit some of your teacher tips, and then the best ones end up on this site, so we can all share our experience and knowledge. What were you going to say, Victoria? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was going to say that at least for Practice Makes Perfect, I think you need to register in order to be able to access the material, at least the lesson plans.
Okay, excellent. Right, so moving on, we've done a bit of designing learning. Let's look at delivering some learning. So somebody just said, somebody was just asking about things for young learners. We'll start off with World of Fun. So this is a website that's been around for a while. It's again in collaboration with Cambridge University Press and has loads of stuff for pre-A1, A1 and A2. The vast majority of the stuff is geared towards and around starters, movers and flyers. But again, it doesn't matter if you're not preparing children for the exams, it will all be very relevant input. And at this level, as we know, the vast majority of stuff is vocab and simple grammar input. So please use it. There's a lot of material available on there, such as, Victoria?
There are flashcards for you to download, and also ideas to use them, but also a lot of other resources and activities for you to adapt maybe in the current situation to teaching online. Apart from that,
things that parents can use as well. Flashcards. There are interesting articles for teachers on using stories, storytelling in videos. And we have a few apps ready for young learners, which I think work on tablets and mobiles. What else do we have access to? Oh, here's an example of a lesson plan. Yeah. Top 10 tips for the drama classroom. I suppose if there are several young learners in the same house, this could be useful.
Yeah, and they will not only be able to get PDFs, but also videos with webinars. For example, the one we are going to see now, with Karen Saxby.
Yeah, this is an interesting webinar on storytelling and story making aimed at teachers. Karen Saxby writes on all of the Young Learners exams and writes with Anne Robinson on the Fun 4 series and the Story Fun series. So she has a lot of experience in creating materials for young learners. I think World of Fun is all in English, Elena, is my understanding. Is some in Spanish as well, Victoria?
I think mainly in English.
I think it might be localized. So if you go to World of Fun from Portugal, I think you should be able to access it. More on World of Fun, again, another article on using stories in the primary classroom.
Yeah, in this case, also to adapt material for students with special requirements.
Excellent. Right, moving on. This is one of Victoria's favorites. What's this about, Victoria? Did you have a pen friend when you were younger?
No, I don't think so.
I had a pen friend for a few years in France. Yeah, no, it's very nice. I never know what happened to her. But Pen Friends is a wonderful platform, which essentially does what you imagine it would do, and uses technology to carry on doing what we've been doing for a long time anyway. How does it work, Victoria?
Well, teachers will have to register. They will need to provide information about their school, their students, their level, how many they have, and then they will sign up, and we will pair them with another school with similar characteristics.
In theory, on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, the advantage of this is similar sized classes, similar level and similar age. So they're always going to be paired up with, you know, a peer of a similar profile somewhere else in the world. And Victoria?
Yeah, and you can also select the topic that your students are going to write about. And I think it makes the whole process of reading and writing more authentic because they're really someone there.
Exactly, they are actually communicating with someone somewhere else in the world. Here's an example of Theo and Alina's work. Theo from Brazil and Alina from the Ukraine. And I think teachers have the opportunity to choose what topics they talk about. Is that right, Victoria?
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So you can practice what you have been practicing in class, again, in a more authentic and meaningful way, I think. Right, moving on.
Yeah, we're
classroom resources and learning resources, Victoria.
Exactly. We're going to look at resources for you to teach and for students to practice.
So we'll start off with YouTube. Hopefully some of you are familiar with this, Cambridge English TV channel on YouTube. There is the global one, and then we do have some more localized YouTube channels as well. There's a lot of stuff on this, like Victoria's favorite, vidioms. What's a vidiom, Victoria?
Well, it's a word that I made up, no? Because you said
and I think it's a great word. You know, English is all languages constantly evolving. I think vidiom's a great word. Explain what it is.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that at Cambridge English TV channel, you have videos explaining the meaning of some idioms, like break the ice. And you can use this to teach your students online. They can watch the video and then put this idiom into practice using Padlet. They can write sentences with it.
Yep, or record little videos of themselves. I mean, that's up to you. I don't know what, it depends on the relationship with your students, etc. But I think, especially for speaking practice, nearly everyone has access to a mobile phone or a tablet. So I think we should, now is the time to really start taking advantage of this. Beyond that, we have everybody's old favorite, the speaking test videos. This is Victoria. It is you, isn't it, Victoria?
It is me.
Doing your first a long time ago. So again, these are examples at various levels of candidates taking our speaking tests, and the majority of them you can also download examiners' comments, so comments on how the students did, what marks they would have got, all with clear reference to the speaking criteria, which you can access in the teacher's handbook. What else, Victoria? Oh no, there's your favorite one, a nice general one about speaking tests.
Yeah, there are also general videos like this one that I used with my students when they were very close to the speaking test. And it is a nice summary of what is expected of candidates at higher levels, B2, C1 mainly. And I think it's a great way to reflect on aspects to do the day of the exam.
Excellent. Right, moving on. This started on Monday. So it's a MOOC, a massive open online course, which I think in Spanish is a comma. No?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I remember hearing that a while ago. I haven't heard it since. I think MOOC has taken over.
Yeah.
So Teaching English Online, a free online course put together by experts at Cambridge Assessment English and from elsewhere. I think we had 13,000 teachers signed up as of yesterday, so please join this. It'll be a nice way to help you with your teaching English online skills, which I think could be more and more useful over the coming days and weeks. Have you signed up, Victoria?
I did, yeah.
Has anyone else signed up? Anyone? Anyone in the chat box? Excellent, Megan.
Yeah,
is it?
great.
Are you enjoying it? Is it proving useful? Excellent. Well, good to hear that we have lots of registrants here today. Yes, our Beatriz. Again, is it the same Beatriz? She come twice. Okay, yeah. All of the webinars that we're running, just so that you know, we'll be running them at 11 a.m. and apart from today at 5:30 p.m. So hopefully everybody who is still currently teaching will have an opportunity to sign up for one of them. Okay, sign up. I think you just go to Google Teaching English Online, Future Learn, and I think signing up is a pretty simple process, Victoria.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, on to my favorite online resource, Write and Improve. I don't know if any of you use this yet or have been using it. Please start using it now because it is one of the greatest things we have, I think. It gives your students an opportunity to practice their writing skills and to get instant feedback on their writing and a CFR level for the piece of writing that they've done. So you go to the website, Write and Improve, and sign up. And you as a teacher can create assignments or workbooks, and you can see your students' changes and progress if you go for the class view section and get different tasks and reports and insights on your students. Okay, so we will go into it in a little more detail now. So once you've signed up, you can choose tasks at beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I think, is that true, Victoria?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I chose a beginner task. This should look very familiar to some of you who prepare for Key. Write a paragraph describing your home. Include information about how many rooms there are, what the kitchen and the living room are like, and whether there is a garden. So I put on my A1 hat and I wrote this. Should look familiar to some of you who teach students at that level. You can either type your answers straight into the platform, or you can do it on a Word document or whatever, copy and paste it in. It works on laptops, mobiles, and tablets. So across all devices. You type this in and click, it isn't in the screenshot here, there's a little check button. Click check, and in seconds, you get feedback like this. Okay, so it will give you a level. I think this one got A1, as I'm sure you will probably guess. And so you have the exclamation marks for word level feedback, and then you get phrase and sentence level feedback. Okay, I want to make sure, make clear that this is not a spell checker, and it's not Grammarly. At word level, it will suggest, did you mean to write friend? But at phrase and sentence level, it will direct students towards where it thinks there is an issue. So is this the correct word? Doesn't look right to us. You can see it's the wrong verb tense. I like living room because it have. So I think one of the greatest advantages of this is that it directs students towards where the issues are and makes them think about it. It puts the responsibility in the students' hands to make the changes themselves and improve their writing as they go along. I think it's very useful for getting them used to process writing. So writing several drafts of one piece of work rather than just doing the homework, handing it in, getting it back with some red pen and a score, forgetting about it and moving on to the next piece of writing. So you can see I made some corrections on my previous one. I think I've maybe got up to A2 now. This looks a little bit better. I clicked on that. I adjusted some more obvious errors there, and I've got slightly better feedback there. Okay, I think this took me up to B1. This is the feedback screen. You also have access to the changes screen. So students have a record of all of the changes that they've made, and so they can see how those changes have then improved their score. You can see this did now get an A2, luckily. And they get a little graph, so they can see their progress graphically. You can see I made a few attempts at this one, sort of low A1 to nearly A2, then up into A2. There's a slightly better version. I think this took me up to B1, just about. They also have a word count at the bottom, so I know they all love their word counts. Just want to make it clear to everyone, back in exam land, the word counts that we provide for our writing tasks are there as a guidance. Okay, the last thing we want in any writing exam is students sitting there counting the number of words that they've written. They should aim to get more or less what the word count suggests. Again, here's another version. I think I made further changes, and you can see what has changed and how things have improved. I then went a little bit crazy and wrote a very long letter to Maria about my house, just to show that it works all the way up to C2+. Okay, so a few years ago, in its earlier stages, it was better at sort of A2, B1, moving up to B2, but now it works across all levels. So please use it. Moving on to class view. So the class view that we spoke about, you can create your own workbooks for your students, send them an invitation code, and then you have a visibility of all of your students. So here's an example of a class. Once they're all signed up, you can compare how they're all doing and see the progress that they made or have been making over the last period on one task or on a variety of tasks. You also get a graphical representation of your student progress. Here you go, and you can compare here at the Insights screen. It is an amazing resource. Please use it, everybody. Because as I said, a few years ago, it was a little wobbly, but now it is absolutely brilliant. I spent some time trying to beat it a few years ago, but I can't anymore. Here's a task on making a video. So you have the various checks that Ada Martinez has done on this. You can see how she has improved in the different versions that she's done of the writing. Okay, on to listening. What's this, Victoria?
Virtually Anywhere is our audio series to help our students improve their listening skills. And it is suitable for B1 and B2 mainly. And you will see now that there are lesson plans available just for you to adapt to your situation and to your students with the time, of course, the objectives, the material that you will need. And sorry.
No, how many episodes are there, Victoria?
There are 7 episodes.
Okay, nice. And I think what's really nice about this, we know how difficult it is to find engaging, authentic, or as authentic as possible listening material for lower levels. And this is quite engaging and quite exciting. So please use it. And the lesson plans, etc. All help a lot. You can also access all of the audio scripts and tape scripts either before or after? How would you use it, Victoria?
Well, for weaker students, maybe you want them to have the script as they are listening so that they can check vocab and improve comprehension, and also checking pronunciation. It can be also done as a follow-up activity, but maybe for follow-up, I could do like a discussion to check that they have understood, or maybe listening into writing, and they can write a story on what the next episode will be about.
Try and write a summary of what will happen in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice resource, so please use it. Moving on from listening into learning English. Hopefully some of you will be familiar with this. What is learning English about, Victoria?
It is a section on our website, and you have resources for all CFR levels. You just have to filter by skill, level, and time, and you will have all of our activities that are available. And it is great to use when you are teaching, but it is also great for your students maybe to reinforce content that they are not very sure about. So they can use it at home as well.
And you can send them the links to these to use at home. I think we have between 80 and 90 activities up there at the moment.
Yeah.
Again, across all of the skills and levels, and from 0 to 5 minutes up to 10 minutes, well, more than 10 minutes. So please use it. There's a wealth of material available for you there. Right, activities for children, Victoria?
On our website as well, there is a section for young learners to practice all 4 skills at home, and they can do it on their desktop or on their tablets. So
lovely. So again, pre-A1, A1 and A2. Examples of some pre-A1?
Yeah, we have Sing and Learn that we're going to look at in a minute, and then other games and activities which are really straightforward. So your students can do it at home without any problems because it is easy to use. They will not need parent support, and they will get feedback. And I think it is a fun way to reinforce the contents that you have already covered with them.
So, what's this, Victoria?
It's a game to practice the body vocabulary.
So as you can see, it's sort of designed around task types that feature in the Young Learners exams. So they should all be familiar to the students, and it's very easy to use and self-explanatory.
Yeah, and fun.
And fun, exactly. Sing and Learn, another one of your favorites, Victoria?
Yeah, because you know I love singing.
I love singing as well.
Well, here you have a series of songs for our young learners, pre-A1 and A1 mainly. And they have lyrics, and they also have learning activities to practice not only listening, but also to improve their grammar and vocab.
Lovely, that will put it on nice and loud. And here is the sort of back end stuff. So an explanation for you as teachers or for parents as to
how to use these.
Exactly, how to use them and the purposes of each song for the students. One more, Victoria?
Yeah, this is an example of the PDF of the activities that can be downloaded, and as you can see, it is quite easy to do, quite straightforward. So students can do it at home, and then they can get also feedback because the answers are there as well.
Lovely. Right. So yes, we will send you a document towards the end with links to all of these. Okay. Moving on to teacher training, Victoria, what do we have?
We're going to look at this website that we have, and for you to support you with different links to Facebook for Teacher, but also to exam preparation. As we're going to see, we have all the sample papers for our exams. On the next slide, this one, yes, and also tutorials for the computer-based tests. So that's for you to use. And apart from that, we also have a section about webinars like this one.
Here we are. Yeah. So if you can, if you go to our global webinar page, you can sign up. And I think the ones that will be running from next week onwards, you can all sign up on the global page. And we've got at least 9 scheduled and probably, well, almost definitely many more to come. So please sign up to those there. You can also access recordings of all of the old webinars on our YouTube channel. After this, you should get get a link to the replay of this on this platform, and we will also be downloading the video, the replay video, and uploading it on our YouTube channel. Okay, I'll just make that file available now because a lot of people are asking. On the right hand side in files, you should see you should be able to download it there on the right. Okay, and beyond webinars, what's this, Victoria?
This is another of our websites, the Digital Teacher, with lots of resources. It starts in very general way with the digital world and becomes more and more specific, the digital classroom, the digital teacher, and resources to help you design, deliver, and evaluate learning.
Excellent. There is a quite detailed survey, and if you answer it as honestly as possible, it will then put together a tailor-made sort of training course for you. So it's well worth taking the time to answer the survey properly, because it will then rate you on various areas in terms of awareness, understanding, habit, and mastery. And then, as I said, make a tailor-made training session, training program for you to help you improve your digital skills. Here's an example, Victoria.
Yeah, it's an example. Depending on your answers, you will get like different ideas and tips and suggestions of resources that you can use.
Excellent. And there are also things divided into training, short training videos or courses, and then lesson plans as well. We also have reviews of online products, not our products, other people's products, with reviews. Is somebody stealing a car outside your house, Victoria?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. So yeah.
Yeah, here you can see that there are trainings and lesson plans like this one for ThinkLink. I found it really useful, and in fact, I adapted it for my teacher activities. So it's just like very inspiring for you to work on it. And
there's, as I said, sort of reviews written by experts, and then useful functional stuff for you to use as well. ThinkLink, here are some product reviews, which I was speaking about earlier. So Google Classroom and ThinkLink here. Yeah, Zoom as well is there. And it will give you information about the user experience, how to support teaching and learning. So it is quite thorough. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's a great website. So please use it, especially now. Padlet as well. Do many of you use Padlet? We've had lots of different answers to this, from teachers who use it to set up writing tasks, all the way through to administering the whole school, as far as I can tell. Do you remember that school we spoke to in Portugal, Victoria? Yeah, sort of notices for parents, etc. Good. Well, I'm glad you all use it. Now might be the time. Moving on, Cambridge para ti. Well, no, you say it in Spanish, Victoria. Cambridge para ti. You said it very well. Para ti in Portugal. Hopefully you're all familiar with this. This has been live for 2 years now. And basically it's our new landing page. So all of the resources that we've looked at today, and many, many more, can be accessed via Cambridge para ti. Okay, so you can access as a student, a family, or a teacher. Then you will have to filter by level, and also by the skill or content that you want to practice. And you will have all the resources available there for you. And I think it is great also now, because if parents want their kids to practice a bit more,
at home. This is in Spanish. It is very straightforward, so they will be able to use it easily.
Okay, it is. Lucilia, this has been designed to try and simplify everything, simplify access to everything. And the digital teacher that we were looking at earlier, if you want some help with your digital skills, visit that, answer the survey, and do some of the training on there, because I think it's designed to be as accessible as possible. So once you've clicked these filters, you will get a selection of the materials available.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's the same resources that we have already covered. So everything is there for you.
Lovely. I'm really sorry about people from Portugal who thought it was 4:30 Portuguese time. All of the times advertised, but it should, you should get reminders, and it will tell you what time zone it is. The times that we advertise will be Spanish times, but if there's enough demand, we will repeat webinars, and we have plenty more in the pipeline. So remember, in Portugal, they'll be at 10 or 11. If it's 11 o'clock here, it'll be 10 o'clock in Portugal, and 5:30. The ones from now on are going to be at 5:30, so that we can reach as many teachers as possible. 5:30 Spanish time, so 4:30 Portuguese time. Okay. What else do we have, Victoria? Oh, lastly, this came out very recently. It's proving very popular. What is it, Victoria?
It's our new app with preparation for B1 preliminary for schools. And it gives you the opportunity to practice the different skills. And there are different packs that unlock as you are doing the previous ones. And
so here you can see phrasal verbs, everyone's favorite phrasal verbs, some listening exercises, speaking and writing. So it covers all 4 skills, plenty of material within. Carry on, sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine. It's quite fun because everything is very colorful, and students will get feedback as well. As you can see here.
It has been designed to be used on mobile phones. I mean, it does work on tablets, but not as well, because it's designed to be used on phones. So please direct your students towards this, and keep your eyes out for further versions of ExamLift at different levels in the future.
This is an example of the type of feedback that they will get. So there is some reflection as well for them to learn after completing the activity.
And I think that is it. Sorry, I went a little bit quickly. It was lovely that so many of you have signed up, and I really hope that as I said, it was just a very quick overview. There are at least another 9 webinars scheduled, and there will be more, I'm almost certain. So keep your eyes out for promotion of future webinars on more specific topics. And we'll hopefully be putting together some little mini tutorials for various online products to talk you through how to use them. Okay, so any questions? Does anybody have any burning questions? I saw a few pop up, but we don't have time to answer all of them, and David is doing his best. Any further questions from anyone? No? Okay, well, thank you. And it's encouraging to see that we have attendees from all over the world. Are you going to come back on screen, Victoria, and wave goodbye?
Okay, if you want to, yeah. Why not?
Ooh. I will as well. Oh, are we the other way around now? Do I have to go like this? Yeah.
I think so, yeah, and me like this. I happen to look at you. Yes. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you all very much. Yep, stay safe. Use the resources. They're all great. And any questions, get in touch. We'll hopefully see a lot of you in the future webinars. Okay, so see you soon. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.